Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Is that you, caller?
It certainly is.
Hello.
Me.
Hello again. You must be well, you're on the edge of your return, aren't you? So how are you?
Yes. I just weighed my first suitcase and it was 19 something, and I think I've got one booked at 18 and one booked at 23, so I'll have to check.
And what are the... Oh, I see.
It's the smaller one that's coming in at 19, so I've got room in the bigger one. And then I've got a wheelie one. So and if you've got an 18, what did you say, an 18 and a 23? I think that's what I've booked, yes.
Yeah, so what doesn't fit in either of those? Have you got loads of stuff on top, or are you having to fall behind?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be able to move some of the stuff from the smaller one to the bigger one and bring it in under 18, and then the other one will come in under 23 easily.
Okay.
I'm sure the listeners riveted to hear about my packing.
Well, I have questions. I have questions arising from the bombshell of I'm coming home.
You've been ruminating on it.
I've been ruminating. Yes. What happens to Right Club the podcast?
Well, we had sort of made the decision to go to 200 and then stop in its current format. Anyway.
And how many have you done?
We've done 89, I think. So we recorded another 4 on Monday this week. And I think the other's going to do the rest without me, but me chipping in things like my bedside table read and an amuse-bouche, which is, for my mind, the most boring bit of the whole thing, when someone rambles on about something for about 5 minutes that's useful to writers.
Okay.
So, we had sort of decided to morph it anyway, and what we're thinking of morphing it into, because we've covered pretty much every topic now, so what we thought we'd morph it into is a monthly catch up on our writing lives, where we perhaps have a loose theme and we decide, we go back and point out the relevant episodes for that theme.
Okay.
So say, for example, someone's struggling with plotting, we would talk about that struggle and the plotting thing, and then we'd also direct people back to the episodes where we covered plotting before.
But you won't be going to Right Club anymore, but you don't see that as a problem?
No, I've been wrangling with the idea of whether I even want to continue writing. Although they've all want to encourage me to do that, because I just feel I'm never going to be the kind of writer I want to be and I'm interested in being, and that would drive me on. I want to write dark sci-fi, and everything I write comes out humorous and light, and it's not the kind of writer I want to be. But I do have 2 more ideas for books which are not dark sci-fi. One is a political thriller. I'm so far away from being able to decipher any politics myself, but it's not. It's actually, let's just call it a thriller, based around an idea that came to me one morning. And then the other one is an idea for a bunch of ladies who live in a Greek village and have a Right Club or a knitting club or something. Yeah. And there's a murder. So it's a murder mystery, that one.
Okay, murder in the knitting club. I think knitting would probably drive me to murder as well.
Well, you've got needles, haven't you?
Oh, so, you have.
Yeah. It's all in. I mean, they've said they can patch me in, to write a club once.
But they'll take the lion's share of the, tech bit, will they?
No, I'll still do. There's 2 of them that do editing of the parts, and then I'll just put it all together once a week.
Okay.
I'll continue with that till the 200th episode, and then we'll.
But that's quite a long way off, Nicola. 89 from 200. You're not even halfway there yet.
No, I didn't. Sorry. I'm getting confused between our podcast and theirs.
Okay.
We've got to 100 episodes on.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. Well, you can definitely do that. You're nearly there.
Yeah. So, and we had a month off as well, so it'll be interesting to see what happens to our numbers in the same way that it'll be interesting to see what happens to the Own It numbers as well. So.
I think you told me. Anyway, I should just give you a little warning that I'm in Up the Big House today, because I need
up the big house.
Yes, I need to sit at a desk to do this, but there are other people here and noises over which I have no control.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
All right, so we just have to do the best we can. Ironically, you moved from yesterday till today because of your cleaner, and Friday here is a day that cleanery and gardening-y and repair-y type activities happen.
Oh, okay. And well, that's fascinating. Have you been upstairs yet?
No, I don't do stairs. Are my nemesis.
Oh,
I don't do stairs. In fact, getting into my cottage is quite a challenge because there are like stepping stones, and in between the stepping stones there are layers of steps, long, slow layers of steps, but bounded by sleepers, but containing little stones. When I arrived on the first hot day, I said, I don't think I can do this. It's easier for me now to go into the big house and out the front door. Now I've got the key to the side gate. But anyway, this is just as boring. Tell me about your week, or a highlight of your week, or how you're feeling about coming home, or whatever.
I'm still feeling it's the right choice. I've had a lot of people. I've been goodbye dodging this week. People are making a big fuss of the fact I'm going, and they've only just found out, and they're going to miss me, which is lovely. But I said, stop making a big deal out of it. I'll be back next year.
Why does that embarrass you, or you don't enjoy that? People are wanting to be nice and kind with you. They're wanting to.
I know how I feel when people come and go. I don't feel that it warrants a big deal.
No, you don't, but they do.
Well, they can do it all they like, but people trying to let's have a last drink and everything, and Phoebe's here, and she doesn't want to do that. She finds
okay. All right, no, Phoebe's a good answer.
Yeah, exactly. So she's getting me out.
Well, Phoebe's a good excuse. Let's put it like that. Yeah.
So that's. I mean, really, I've got not much to tell you because it's been more the same. Going to the beach every day, eating out every night, hanging out together, having a lovely time.
And no need for us to pretend. It's only been 48 hours since we did the last one.
So if it had been a week, then I wouldn't have had much to tell you on this.
No, I understand. When I turned up to both of these this week, I thought I've got absolutely nothing to tell Nicola. I thought we pulled one out of the bag on Wednesday. I don't know whether we could do that today, but let's have a go.
Yeah, all right then.
So my back to schoolish activities continue. There's this thing, isn't there, that's been hardwired into us from childhood, that when it turns into September, you've got to get your life organised. And if I weren't so digital, that would involve, pencil cases, sharpened pencils, protractors, and that sort of thing. As a percentage of my life, school was relatively short, and I left as soon as possible. But the habits that I picked up in the 50s and 60s, or 60s and 70s, they last a lifetime. That's which I find. Still, it's like, I suppose it's because children's minds are so impressionable, isn't it? That those habits, which don't really serve my adult life at all, linger quite strongly and are quite hard to resist. Anyway, what I am trying to do is get my environment to be as supportive as possible. And lots of the things I want in my current pad are in storage. Because when you house sit, you don't need anything. And when you put down roots for a bit, you need ideally all your stuff back again. And it's in storage with Emma, if you remember.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to work out whether or not to liberate it from there, because it would over-clutter me here and solve, I think, only as many problems as it created, which probably means I'm going to have to choose instead to buy things I already own, like a spatula, a sieve and a duvet cover.
Yes, but you can choose nice ones.
Well, the ones I got in storage are nice as well. I mean, actually, the minimalists have a rule, which is if you can buy it again for $20 within 20 miles, you might. No, that's okay. You can clutter clear if you think it's not going to cost you more than $20 to replace it if you need to. And I might need to. It depends. I will know by the time I speak to you next how long I'm going to be here. And if I'm going to be here for, say, a couple of months, there are things, I haven't got a wooden spoon.
Yeah.
And I can't sieve anything, which is, so if you boil something up like a vegetable or a pasta, you've got nothing to sieve it with, which is quite funny. Anyway.
Can't you borrow the sieve from the big house?
Well, I can, but every time you make a meal, you don't want to be going up and down the big house, and they're coming back this weekend. I don't want to inconvenience them.
I see. Right.
Yeah.
They're away for a while.
Well, no, they have been. They've been away since the 10th of July, but they're coming back this weekend. But, also back to the knee problem, up and down stairs just to borrow a sieve doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, it doesn't. I can still remember all the words from the first verse of Greensleeves, talking of things impressed on you as a child.
Give us a line or two.
Alas, my love, you do me wrong
to cast me out
discourteously, for I have loved you so long, delighting in your company.
That's right. Brilliant.
Trying to do a little harmony there, weren't you?
Yeah, brilliant.
Harmonising my voice, that's for sure.
Well, there we've just proved the theory, haven't we? And funnily enough, that leads terrifically into what I'm going to tell you next. called Lumosity.
Oh.
Because after a conflab with Marion a couple of weeks ago, I decided I needed to do some more brain training, because I noticed how often in these podcasts you and I both can't find the word we want fast enough. We know the word. We've got good vocabularies, but we can't recall the word fast enough. And I wanted something. First of all, I thought, well, I'll have to create an app. I wanted something that would not expand my vocab, but help me pull something out of my mental filing cabinet faster. So I found this thing called Lumosity, and I'm on the free version. I think I'm just on day 11 of the free version. And actually, it's gamified, so you can see how much you're improving, which of course is very motivating. Some of the games are really difficult, and the free version doesn't necessarily test the faculties I want improving, but the paid one would. But it reminded me that once for my birthday you sent me one of those kids' toys. I forget what they're called, ironically. It was pink, and you used a stylus to direct it. Do you remember? What were they called?
No, I totally can't remember. No.
Yeah, kids used them.
Etch-a-sketch.
No, the tiny little thing like a sort of powder compact, but rectangular, and you used a stylus, and it had sort of. Anyway, but it had Dr. Kawasaki's brain training on it. And you sent me this for my birthday. You sent me it in pink, and you sent me the Dr. Kawasaki's brain training. So clearly I'd been moaning about this about a decade ago as well. And I thought for sure there'd be an app of Dr. Kawasaki, because I remember that it showed you your progress, but it appears not. It looks like Lumosity is the current thing. And I will continue with it. And I already do Sudoku and word puzzles and Duolingo when I was learning the language refresh parts of the brain like memory, but Lumosity tests more, and it seems to improve things and measure all sorts of different types of brain activity, the majority of which seem important to me. And as I said, some of them are absolutely impossible and some of them are really easy. Obviously the mental arithmetic I'm better at than I thought I was, because I normally need a calculator for that, but improvements follow, and it's logical really, but you do have to, whatever you want improving, you have to exercise it every day. A bit like when I did my handwriting, it got better. Haven't done it for a few months, it's knocked off again. So it appears like the older we get, the more we have to use every single faculty, use it or lose it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just your brain, but your body and everything.
I know. I mean, by the end of the summer, I can get off a sunbed relatively easily. At the beginning of a summer, my thighs tremble every time I try it.
Do you know why? It's because it's low, which means it's below our centre of gravity. And because of my knees, when I set up home again, I will need a sofa that's higher than most people's. So what I have to do in this house, for instance, is take the back cushion down and put it on the seat, because I can't get up from a sofa without an awful lot of.
You'll be needing one of those leather recliners soon. They
don't need to be in recliners. When I go to my brother's house, he's got 2 higher up chairs, because of course there've been grannies and grandpas through there. And if your knee is at the right angle, you can just stand up. But if your bum is below your knee, you can't stand up at all.
Yeah. Oh dear.
But you're right. You're right. The sunbed thing is the muscle that you use to get out of there improves over the summer.
It does indeed, especially when you're doing it 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it's a knee trembler, and not in a good way, if you know what
I mean. No,
I
do know what you mean. Yes. Now tell me what has fueled your fire.
Well, I am. Just sent me off there. What has fueled my fire has been editing the Business Success Factory podcast recordings, of which I have 153, to pull out just the money tips. And what I've been doing is I've been recording little intros for each person, and then my VA puts the intro onto she edits the money tip out, and then she puts my intro onto it, and then it's going onto a new podcast called The Money Gym. And this is I thought it was going to have to be my main method of promoting the Money Gym book and audio on Audible, but it turns out it's not going to be, because I'm still getting traffic from where. Let's not mention the name out there in case.
Well, not jinx it, you mean?
No, exactly. And so, but it's been really interesting to listen to the money tips just in isolation. And one of them in particular, Daniel Priestley. You remember Daniel? He came to England as a small boy, pretty much.
I remember him, yes.
Trousers, started triumphant events and became incredibly successful, and now has run Dent and has got all those lovely best-selling books and everything. His money tip is the best so far out of all of them. So, Daniel, I don't imagine for a second you're listening, but you're going to get 2 money tips in the first 20, because your second one was such a good one. So that's fueled my fire, listening to all those money tips.
Okay, cool. going to do Focus of the Week, and I'm going to let you talk to us about this because you know Sharon better than me. Sharon Gaskin, who talked to us about how I got trainers talking. She and I don't know each other really, except through Facebook. In fact, that day was the first day I'd heard her voice, funnily enough. And but we know each other through a mutual love of tennis, and indeed she has a son who's a pro, I think, isn't he?
Yes, but he's on the way to becoming a pro.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Well, I met Sharon. When I first came out here, when I first came back for a little while, I offered a dinner and a day consultancy, and Sharon. I don't remember having dinner with her, but we definitely spent a whole day together. It was a Saturday too, so I was, I went up to meet her, and we went to a lovely hotel. And as is my wont, I got my sat nav a bit wrong, and I went to the wrong version of the hotel because there were two similarly named hotels in the same area. So I got a little bit flustered, but she was very kind and put me down and round to the other version. And we had a delightful lunch, a really good strategy day, and then we carried on working afterwards. I carried on coaching on a one-to-one basis, and she was very interesting because she had a really gorgeous, thriving little business which consisted of two parts. One was that people would sign up to get notified of, and they would pay a small amount of money a month to get notified of training opportunities, because lots of trainers just want to train. It's like coaches, they just want to coach, and they don't want to go out, pitching for the business. But Sharon started attracting people asking for recommendations to trainers, and she thought, I'll just email this out to my list and let them apply themselves. So she's got this sort of associate trainer alert service, and then that grew into a community. But again, people don't want to buy a community, they want to buy a product that's going to teach them something specific. Then they stay on for the community, and her business has gone from strength to strength. My coaching largely consisted of gently bullying her to put her prices up, which she did over a period of a year, and it made a profound difference because, of course, having a son who is about to become a tennis pro, he was in a school in Spain.
It's expensive, yes.
And he's in America now, and so he really, and he's got a load of talent, and she wanted to nurture it, and that's why she started the business in the first place, so she could drive him around to tennis tuition. And I think there's no finer motive to start a business than to be able to spend more time with your children.
I think also it's interesting you mentioned the word strategy, because she reveals herself to be quite a strategic thinker, or a person that appreciates strategy in this interview, I remember. Yeah,
she's very good at planning, and she's very systematic at executing, and I have a lot of respect for her as a business person.
And she's a listener guest.
Yes, she is. Let's listen to what she's got to say. Welcome to the call, Sharon Gaskin. Sharon has been a client of mine on and off for several years, haven't you, Sharon? We met in that very luxurious hotel in the middle of the country somewhere, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
It was a lovely day. Yeah. But I think I'd got, actually, this is so typical, Judith, I actually went to the wrong hotel first, didn't I?
Yeah.
My sat-nav played me wrong.
You got very lost, didn't you, as I recall?
Yeah, I did, yes. It wasn't great, but we had a lovely day, and we've worked together on and off ever since. Now I'm a guest member in your community. So why don't you tell us all about yourself, Sharon? How you got into what you're doing, what you do, and how people can find you online.
Oh, goodness me. Okay, well, basically, I have a business called the Trainers Training Company, which, as its name suggests, is for trainers. Corporate trainers, not dog trainers or personal trainers, because sometimes people get confused with that. I want to join my community, when they're a dog trainer and things like that. But basically, I got into this. I've always been in training. I was a training manager, training officer in the corporate world. I went freelance in 2002 following a relocation. And my training business, after the first year, when everything kind of, was really hard, and I learned lots of things that I shouldn't be doing, learned stuff the hard way, eventually it started going really well. And I was going along quite happily for about 7 years. And then because of a couple of different things, I decided to have a change of direction and wanted to create a business where I would work more from home rather than be sort of traveling around the country everywhere. And really, one of the things I've noticed about trainers through my own experiences is that trainers love the bit when they are in the training room doing the the training delivery, where they don't like the bit where they have to do the marketing and have to go and get business. So I thought that it would be quite useful to create, a website or a community or something that would be just for trainers to help them with their marketing. And that's really where I've been ever since.
So mention about your son, because you've got two children, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I've got two children. So I've got Amy, who's 21, and Ryan, who's 19. And Ryan was probably the main reason why I started the Trainers Training Company, because he had got to the stage where he's a tennis player, and he was very good at tennis. And around about this time, he was only 9. And he got chosen to go to a high performance centre up in Birmingham every day. And that meant that I had to pick him up from school and take him up there and stay with him and all the rest of it. And I couldn't be travelling around the country, running my training courses in lots of different places. And so that was the reason, really, that I thought, gosh, I really need to be creating a business where I could work from home more. And I was really lucky because in 2009, I don't know if you recall, it was round about the time really that, the online world was just getting started.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, we had things like sort of, email marketing lists and remember those things called instant teleseminar?
Oh, yes, they still... I met Alex Mondosian in Vegas this year, who started all the online webinars. Of
course he did. I remember, yeah. So those were the days where, it was possible to talk to people online, but you did it over the phone and sat there holding the receiver to your ear. Yes. You couldn't actually sort of see anybody on video camera in those days, but it was a start, and and it was great because that enabled me suddenly to sort of talk to people, talk to my clients one-to-one without leaving home, sort of doing webinars, instant teleseminars, whatever they were, turning my courses into online programs and things like that. And so the whole thing, it was like a whole new world all of a sudden.
Yeah. And when we met, the Trainers Training Company, what a great set of, what a domain name, really. It's sort of, your search engine optimization was doing very well when I met you, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, indeed. Still is, actually, apart from all the dog trainers.
Good for you. And so how did you learn how to build a business? Who were your gurus, and what books did you read that really helped?
Well, it was funny, actually. The other day, I was talking to somebody about this, and in terms of creating a membership community. And this particular person said to me, who have you learned from? And I was a bit taken aback by that question, because I just thought, flipping heck, I don't think I've learned from anybody. Honestly, I just feel half the time I've just made it up as I've gone along, really. And maybe I should have learned how to do things properly, I think. But certainly with my membership community, a lot of it has been through trial and error, and I'm very much a person who, I'm not very patient, and I'm quite decisive. So if I just want to do something, generally I just get on and do it, and then I worry about it later. Because the
next logical step seems obvious to you. Yeah,
exactly. So because of those reasons, I think I tend to get on with stuff, and then if it works, great. If it doesn't, then I go off and try something else.
Brilliant. So what's your topic today, Sharon? What do you want to talk to us about?
Membership communities, I think, because there's a lot of talk about membership communities, isn't there? It's often seen as the Holy Grail. Yeah. Everybody wants a membership community. Everybody wants, recurring income. I've heard you talk about it a lot on the podcast. I know you have your own membership community. And I've got 2 membership communities, both of which are quite different. One was created by accident, and one was created very much by design. One is a needs-based community where people get stuff. Basically, they get training opportunities sent to them via email, so opportunities for work. And the other one is a community-based membership. And they are actually, I've wrestled with this question actually quite a lot of times. People have said to me, why don't you just, put the 2 together? I'm in the Associate Alert Service, and, does that include all the Trainer Talk stuff? And I've always pulled away from merging the two memberships. And the reason why I've done that is that actually the people in those two memberships are actually quite different.
So no, you think it's very important then to know your customers?
Absolutely. It's really important, because most of the people who are in the Associate Alert Service, which is the membership community where they just get opportunities for work fed to them, a lot of them are just not interested in in marketing and learning how to grow their business and all the rest of it. So it's pointless trying to get them to join something like Trainer Talk, where it really just isn't for them. So it really is important to have the right people in your membership and to know who you're serving. I think
it's a great way to start, though, isn't it? Because you saw a need for people in the marketplace who just wanted to be alerted to things they could pitch for.
Yeah.
Did that come first? That one?
It did. Yeah, it did. And that was the one that was completely created by accident, because round about the time, go way back to about 2011, something like this, I'd had about 2 years of building the business, building my mailing list, etc., and was getting known for the person who deals with trainers. And one day I had an email from a lady who said, I'm running some courses in London, and I know that you know loads of trainers. Can you help me?
Uh-huh.
I said, yeah, sure. Send me an email, send me the details, send them across to me. And I did, and I sent out this opportunity to everybody on my mailing list. And the person down in London got trainers for the job. She was very happy. Then I got another one, and I got another one and another one. And honestly, after about 18 months of doing this completely for free, I suddenly thought, oh my goodness, I should be charging for this, really. And that was when I turned it into a subscription service. And so often people say to me, oh, this is a great idea. I wished I'd have thought of it. And I said, you know what, I'm going to be honest. I didn't dream it up. It was one of those things that just happened.
It bashed me over the head for a year and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And did you have so initially it was the fact that you had the marketplace of trainers. Somebody just thought she can get in front of a lot of trainers, but then as it went along, did you then how did you go about with the whole software membership bit?
Oh, goodness me. Well, in the Associate Alert Service, that is just really, really simple. I mean, it just works via email, and that is it. So people sign, they go to the website, they come onto Active Campaign. When I get an opportunity through, I send it through to them by email. And again, don't overcomplicate. So often people say, oh, do I need to log into a website? No, honestly, it's just really, really simple. Now, the other membership, Trainer Talk, that is the one where there is, well, you've seen it,
It's lovely. Yeah, you've done a really nice job on the back end of that.
Thank you. So there's a website that they have to log into, with the members area, and I also have a community which was on Facebook, which is now on Mighty Networks, and that is almost like it's a nice platform because it's almost like a mini website in itself. Although I do obviously still have the website because, as I've heard you say many times, it's important to not, to own your stuff. So, to have it on a website and domain that you own, so that nobody can take it away.
Yeah. So do you find that people come and join the membership area for your courses and then stay for the community, or do you find they come for the community initially anyway?
They absolutely, with Trainer Talk, they absolutely come for the community.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It really is, and it really is. This membership has been going for 4 years now, and I'll be honest, it's really hard to get people to join. As you know, it yes. Really is. But once they do join, I have noticed that they do stay.
Yes.
So although my membership growth the Trainer Talk is quite slow, once we've got them in there, it's very, it's quite rare for people to leave. So that's really good.
Well, you're doing something right inside then, because
yes.
Getting a membership to grow, taking into account the natural churn, as they call it,
yes.
where people stay for a couple of months and then leave.
Yeah.
I know because I've encouraged you that you've got well, encouraged being a bit of a gentle word for what I generally do too.
And she says she was frightened of me.
No, I mean, Sharon took some encouraging to look at her figures, but once she got a handle on it, you're really pretty good at it now, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, I am. But yeah, I mean, it's really, really interesting because and you learn so much, don't you, kind of over the years. I mean, one of the things that I've learned recently is that, in the knowledge that growing the membership is quite slow, is that, people are commitment phobic. The biggest reasons that people give for leaving the membership is time, because they get overwhelmed with stuff and then they feel guilty that they're not accessing all the stuff, that they could be doing, et cetera, et cetera. And it's actually quite difficult to get people to join from emails and websites and things like that. And they really have to experience it in some way before they actually make the decision to join. And so one of the ways that I get people to experience Trainer Talk is we have 4 live events a year called Trainer Talk Live, and non-members can come along to those. And, it's great because then they come to the event. It's a great day. It's really buzzing. They get loads of help and support from other people. It's just a great event. And so that encourages people to say, oh, I'll have a bit of this. I get it now.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter how many photos or videos or stuff that you put on your website for people to see, unless people can actually experience it, it's really hard for them to get.
And it doesn't work to give people 3 weeks or 3 months or either, does it? We've all tried that, and you just attract the wrong kind of people, don't you?
Yeah, you just attract the freebie seekers and people who don't value it.
Yeah.
So the next stage for me has been what I've been doing over the last few months, and this is really exciting, is that I thought, okay, let's roll this out even further. So I've got my Trainer Talk Live events, which are in the Midlands, as I say, once a quarter, and people come from all over the country, excuse me, to that. But now I'm now rolling that out on a local basis, and I've handpicked 12 what I call Trainer Talk local leaders from my community. So these are people who I know are really engaged, they're really supportive, they love the community, they're fans. And I've asked them to come and be a Trainer Talk local leader. They are going to run quarterly events within their local area. But they're going to be shorter, they're only going to be 2 hours. Non-members can come along to them, but after their first visit, then they have to join or they can't come again. So this is really exciting because this is a way of getting people to experience it in a way that is kind of easier for them because it's in their local area. It's cheaper. It's only 2 hours. It's less time consuming. And see where we go from there. And so far the response has been really positive. And I only announced it last week, and already we've got people, booking on the events, and so it's really exciting.
So, what's the benefit to the trainer who is hosting the local event?
Well, the benefit to them is just to, increase their own visibility, increase their own profile, because I really want them to be, the face of Trainer Talk in their local area.
And of course, if they get in front of other trainers, their referral business goes up.
Absolutely,
presumably.
Yeah. And this is one of the great things about Trainer Talk is that, and again, people don't really get this until they come into the community, because in the community, people are so active and they really get to know one another, particularly when they're face to face through our events. People really get to understand what it is that people actually do. And the know, like, and trust factor, is massive. Yeah. And so I refer people all the time and recommend them to their clients. So that works really, really well.
Because I suppose when people are talking about, we're talking about trainers here, we're all assuming that everyone's training the same things, but they're not, are they?
No, they're not. Within the community, we've got, we know, who's the person who's the the Microsoft Office trainer? Who's the person who deals with, who's the, the diversity trainer? Who's the person who deals with women's development? Who's the person who deals with online training? We kind of know that.
Yeah.
And so it's really easy for people to refer people on to others, which is great.
And also, if a trainer's going to be ill or want to go on holiday and one of their clients comes to them and wants some training done, they want to know who they can refer that business on to without letting their client down.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a win-win for everybody, I think.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So all this is really exciting.
Well, you sound absolutely enthused and fired up, and I'm very pleased for you. And it's lovely to hear the trainer talk thing spreading out around the country and globally, hopefully one day.
Well, we've got one in Ireland, so
you're already international. Brilliant.
yeah, and I think who's running it. I think the lovely Anne Walsh, don't you? So
I do. Yes, Anne Walsh, the Excel lady.
Yeah, the Excel lady. So so Anne's been in my community for a long time, and she's perfect to lead the Trainer Talk Local in Ireland. So she's really excited about that. So
good.
Yeah.
Lovely. Judith, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, what's in it for the local leaders? I'd written down givers gain.
Well, there's that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember while we were talking about Ryan that, of course, Sharon and I do talk every summer about tennis. And I've been snooping at Mighty Networks because if I'd ever heard it, I'd forgotten about it. And I've been enjoying reading up on the different levels of that. Yeah. And actually, I've been looking for an alternative to Facebook for groups. So thank you for that, Sharon.
It's lovely, Judith. I'm in Sharon's group, and visually it's very attractive.
It's not expensive either.
Yeah.
No, it's not expensive. I mean, there's been the usual. I mean, it took me a long time to do it, and there are elements.
And also to train them across. That's the thing,
absolutely.
Isn't it?
That was a project in itself.
Yeah,
that was a project in itself, and there are still some things that I'm not happy with, and every morning I wake up and think, oh, shall I go back to Facebook today? And yeah.
I think if I was, I don't think I could convert people, but if I was starting a new project from scratch, I think that would be very useful that they go straight in on something like that.
Yeah.
It's much more attractive than the forum I use, and that's something I've got to address because my forum is looking more and more dated as these other things come out. But I'm still completely obsessed with, just hosting it on my own domain and hosting,
And technically, we're still not allowed to charge for a Facebook group, but Mighty Networks, of course, you can.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Good stuff. Well done, Sharon. It's lovely to hear of your progress, and you do sound completely inspired. So, next step, something like the Athena networking size.
Oh, well, you never know.
Well, it reminded me of that. I thought it had overtones of that, actually. Yeah. And if Anne Walsh is listening, hello, Anne. Anne and I have been in lots of projects together.
Great.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Sharon. We've really appreciated hearing from you. And is there anything that you would have liked to have said that you haven't had a chance to say yet?
Oh my goodness me! I think I think we got sidetracked a bit by the associate alert service, but I think I probably would have liked to have talked more about why I started Trainer Talk in the first place and why I turned it into a membership.
You've got a few minutes, so go for it.
Okay, so why I turned it into membership, a little story as well for you. So I was running so it started as the live events, Trainer Talks. I was running these events 4 times a year, and people really liked them. But what I realised at the end of 2013 is that there was a couple of things. One, I wasn't making any money from them, even though I had a really nice, warm, fuzzy feeling at the end of the day, and we all hugged one another and all that kind of stuff. When I actually did the figures, I thought, gosh, I'm actually just subsidising people's days.
No. And a hug doesn't pay the bills, does it, Sharon?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So I had to address that one. And the other thing that I realised is that people were coming to the events, but they weren't necessarily coming back. And the reason why they weren't coming back, not because they didn't enjoy the day, they absolutely did, but because trainers being trainers, they are very commitment phobic and they don't like putting things in their diary because they think, what if work comes up on that day? But this was a big problem when I was trying to create a community, because you cannot create a community without commitment from people. It's absolutely critical. So I decided at the end of 2013 that I was going to turn this into a membership. And I positioned it to myself in my own mind that, okay, if it doesn't work, if people won't join, then there's going to be no more trainer talk, because I can't afford to be subsidising people's days out.
Yeah.
So at the end of 2013, at the very last trainer talk session of the year in December, I stood up and I made a presentation and said, and did a little, this is where we've come, this is what we've done, this is what we've achieved. But going forward into next year, this is what it's now going to look like, and it's going to be a membership. And honest to goodness, I stood there and I just wished that a hole would appear and I would fall into it, because it went down like a lead balloon, as I kind of knew it would, because I knew that people wouldn't like it. Because, of course, as well, not only was I turning it into a membership, but I was also putting the price up of the day. And I just stood there with this horrible feeling, and I just thought, oh my God, this is awful. And then two people, two angels in the room, Paul Harris and Kate Young, stood up and went, I'll join.
Oh, brilliant. It only takes a couple, doesn't it?
Both. I absolutely love you both. And I thought, right, okay, well, I've got two members now, so I can make a start. And
that's all it takes.
Yeah, and it all started from there, really.
Very brave. Well done.
Yeah, it was very brave. And then the other thing, just very quickly, I know that you've got to go, but the other thing as well that I did in this process, so I then carried along quite happily for another couple of years with this, and then I had two Facebook groups. So I had the Facebook group for the members, and which grew to about 20. And then I had a Facebook group full of other people, some of whom had kind of bought things from me but weren't Trainers Talk members. And there were about 600 or 700 people in this group. And what I noticed, and there was something that was really bugging me about this membership, and there was something like a missing piece somewhere. And I suddenly realised what it was, because what was happening, these 20 people in the Facebook group who were members weren't really posting in that group. They were all in the other one, in the 700 group where all the activity was. And the people in the 700 group weren't incentivised to join the membership group because they were getting everything that they wanted in the free group. Yeah. So I thought, oh God, right, that's the missing bit. So this is where it has to stop. So I then basically, again, took another decision and said, right, and wrote to everybody and said, this Facebook group is going to be closed down. If you want to join us at some level, you have to join the membership.
Good for you.
I love it when you get strict. And you had the nerve to accuse me of being It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And I knew that out of 700 people, I absolutely knew that most of them wouldn't do that. But it didn't matter.
No.
It's all about getting the right people, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happened?
Awesome, Sharon. We've got to draw a close to that, although I could talk membership sites with you all day, obviously. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming along, and it's been lovely to talk to you as always.
That's lovely. And you put the links to my sites and stuff on the
Yes,
podcast.
We will.
Yes, we will. Yeah.
Thanks
for asking.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Bye.
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 There we go. That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yes, Sharon's a good bird.
They're always interesting. I enjoy these.
Yes, I think they are enjoyable, actually. The variety, isn't it?
Yes, it's all the different businesses being run in all the different ways.
And we never really know what we're going to get.
No, that's always nice too. Good surprise. Because you organise it all, so I pitch up and think. Often I've forgotten who we're talking to, and it's a lovely surprise that way as well.
So I don't think the listener will be surprised to hear that, Nicola.
I've got to do some planning soon, I've got to say, and I'm thinking, I'm resisting it because it's not something I enjoy or I'm good at, but I'm listening to everybody else. I'm realising that planning your strategy is a good idea.
Well, and yet it isn't. I think not for everybody it isn't, and I think actually there's probably a different way for you.
Yeah, I think you've got to have a strategy and a plan, and then you've got to be open to the idea of changing it on the hoof.
The word strategy strikes terror into my heart, really. It's a bit dry for me.
Yeah. So what is your word of the week, talking of words?
It's talking, actually, because Sharon's thing was how I got trainers talking, and I thought that is something I do share in common with Sharon. For for those of my clients for whom it does work, there's nothing like a good conversation. And I do need to talk to my clients to get where they're coming from. Now, we sometimes talk in emails, and that is effective up to a point. But when you've got to sort of clarify a point or argy-bargy over a point, then I have to say, well, we'll have to include this in the next session because I need to probe more deeply. But it doesn't work for everybody. So I have a client, for instance, who we talk and nothing changes. Now, it doesn't mean she's not enjoying it, but and it's not that she's not applying herself. There's quite a lot of complex rules. Some people, we have a chat and they go off and do it, and I love that.
Yes, I'm getting better at doing the chatting thing. Because I'm sort of associating with some business people who just do talking. For one, one of the film producer in Dublin, he sends me voice messages instead of typing.
Yes,
and I quite enjoy that. I don't.
It's getting much more common that people on Facebook Messenger use the voice recorder for me,
yes,
and lots of people use that instead of typing on Facebook.
I don't mind as long as they talk quickly. If they talk slowly, it drives me absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, because it's at their pace, not yours, isn't it? Exactly. It's because we've all turned into skimmers. What's your word?
My word is home, because it's quite an interesting and emotive word, and it's not one I used while I was out here, except I did slip into it occasionally. And people used to go, surely this is home now. And obviously somewhere deep down psychologically, it wasn't. So I'm interested to know how I'll feel if I feel like I'm going home, but what will I feel when I get there? I'm not sure.
Let me tell you a funny story about home.
Go on then.
You won't. If you do remember this, you will have blocked it out of your memory. But Michael Bublé's first hit was called Home, and I remember a mutual colleague of ours, who shall remain nameless. And if you remember his name, don't blurt it out loud. Okay. I remember him saying to you, "Oh, it's marvelous, that Michael Bublé song, isn't it?" I remember thinking, "Well, Nicola won't think so because it's not her genre of music at all." And that's pretty much what you said back to him, actually, which is quite funny. So the whole world had fallen in love with this new musical artiste, and you were holding yourself back from it because it was a bit poppy for you, a bit schmaltzy as well.
It was a bit schmaltzy in the early days, but I've grown to love him.
Indeed. Yeah. I think he's got more edgy in the time, but that first one was it got us in the squidgies about home, funnily enough.
Yeah, it was very much elevator music in the beginning.
It was, and sometimes he strays into that now, actually, but he's had an interesting life, which I think has informed his music a bit.
And I thoroughly recommend, there's a documentary about him that I thoroughly recommend, which really made everybody like him a lot, even if they didn't before, because he's a genuinely nice bloke. So
sometimes he can be a bit of an oaf. I think he's growing out of it now. But he's had this thing where his son has gone through leukemia or something, and I think that's changed the life of their family quite a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so project updates, I know you probably won't have any.
No, I don't only have any, but I've put a little comment here. I don't rule it out before Christmas, let's see, is what I thought.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't got anything. I haven't got anything in my sights, but I know there are some circumstances coming up in my life where I might pick up a little project or two. Who knows?
Oh, okay. Well, I've got my first 3 leads in through my advertising campaign, and one of them, it's quite an interesting story, really. He contacted me and he said, I thought you'd like to know that one of your videos has been overdubbed somehow. And I said, well, I was on the beach, actually, but I said, well, what do you mean? I said, could you give me the link? He said, I clicked through from your newsletter and ended up at this place. And he gave me a page URL. And I went through and watched my video. It's only 7 minutes long, and it was absolutely fine. And then I went through to the other place where a different version of the video is similar but different, and that was absolutely fine too. So I went back to him and I said, having a trouble recreating the problem. What is it like? And he said, I said, what is it? And he said, well, it's not pretty at all. It sounds like someone from the film The Scream is talking, which I've never seen the film. It sounds like a horror film to me, and not the kind of thing I watch because it scares the living what's out of me at night. And so I don't quite know what the problem is. So I've gone back to him and I've said, are you on Windows or Mac? Might you have anything else playing in the background? And my other 2 suggestions didn't make it onto the email, which were, perhaps you'd like to see a psychiatrist.
There are so many variables between what we create and what people receive, depending on their hardware, their software, their browser, what they've got running in the background, what they do and don't know how to do on their own computers. It's actually amazing that we managed to communicate at all, really.
Yeah, perhaps it's just he just doesn't like my accent. I've got no idea. But
where's he from?
Oh, England somewhere. But he's obviously, very well-meaning, and thank you for if you. I don't know if you're listening, but I do thank anyone who gives me feedback like that, because you never know what might have gone wrong.
When overdubbed implies he's hearing two audios.
Yeah, either that or my voice has been replaced with something else that sounds like it's from the film The Scream.
Unfortunately, neither of us know what that is.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to cave in and have a look now, aren't I? But yes, it was very odd. So the other thing is, as soon as I get home, I've got quite a few things lined up when I get home and projects. I want to learn YouTube advertising. I want to do a money gym course. I possibly might do a money gym day in our old favourite Gatwick Airport. We'll see on demand. So yeah, lots of projects going to be coming up.
Do you mind my asking, and you can cut this bit out if you want, have you updated the materials at all?
Yes, I'm going to be updating the materials on a webinar called The Missing Chapter.
Because they're very noughties.
Yeah, well, they are. I did redo them in 2016.
Okay. I
wrote it originally in 2010, updated it in 2016, and then the audio was recorded 2016 after the property.
Oh, I don't think you wrote it in 2010. You wrote it before I knew you, because it was the 101 thingy, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was originally published in 2010.
Yeah, but it was just the 101 emails, which were available from 2003. But perhaps even earlier.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. So the content's nearly 20 years old, darling. That's
I know, but when I published the book first time in 2010, it got updated, and then it got updated again in 2016.
Okay.
And now I'm going to do this missing chapter webinar.
All right. Okay.
Update each section of the Wealth Highway.
Okay.
And one other thing on project updates, Phoebes and I are going to go into did I tell you this last week? We're going to try and start doing property again.
Yes, on the basis of Peter Holm.
Yeah, on the basis that he can get finance for lots of different things that we couldn't before. So I'm going to teach Phoebe how to be a property investor, because she never wants to work in an office ever in her life, apparently. So,
I don't want to assume why. I mean, I agree with her, but why?
Well, because she just doesn't want to earn small amounts of money for incredible long amounts of hours doing something for someone else.
Yes, not that necessarily goes with an office. So actually, you've clarified that now, which is I don't want to exchange time for money, which of course is one of the principles from the Money Gym book as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's got a nice little business doing social media for someone, but she wants to do more. She's also invested in various things, and Steve left her some money, but she's very interested in the idea of property, because you're out and about, driving around, talking to people, looking at
things. Yes.
And she likes the sound of that a lot. So that'll be fun. Who or what's impressed you?
You go first.
I'm going to tell you about an app called What 3 Words. Have you come across it yet?
I think so. Did you tell us about it before? If it wasn't you, somebody else did. What 3 words? Yeah, well, it's been going around, I think, on Facebook, because a lot of people are using it now, and the emergency services in various yes.
are encouraging people to use it, because it pins your location down to a 3 square metre square.
Yeah.
And while I'm not going to tell you what my exact 3 words are right now, I did look it up a moment ago, and I've completely closed the thing. That's annoying, isn't it? I know where it is. I did prepare earlier, caller. So, for example, you could actually put in on w3w.co.
Yep.
You could put in Adder, Grainy, Spy. And that would tell you exactly where my house is in a place that doesn't have any addresses. So it's very useful for taxi drivers in the super area. It's very useful for pizza and takeaway.
Sorry, I'm confused. W3W gives you those 3 words. Gives you the 3 words because that's what that location is called.
It does several things. You download the app, and it'll tell you exactly where you are. So you can you can actually just hit the 3 words, and it'll produce something to share.
My understanding was it was about the emergency services finding me in a disaster. How do I communicate to the taxi driver or the ambulance man, Adder, Grainy, whatever it was?
Well, the point is that you don't need an internet connection to do it. If you know your 3 words,
okay.
If you know your 3 words where you are, you can just call them or you can text them, or you can shout it to someone who can call them or text them.
Okay.
And it tells them exactly where you are to the nearest literally it's about the nearest square metre, I think.
Yes, I got that bit.
The thing about it is that it's all been done from geo coordinates.
Yes.
Some clever lad had this idea that geo coordinates could be much more easily identified if each one had a unique word assigned to it. And so when you've got the app, you can actually put in someone else's 3 words and find out exactly where they are. They can send you a link to your what.
And as you move around, your 3 words change.
Yes. It pins you down to the nearest sunbed on the beach.
Yes, and then I looked at it and I thought, that's marvellous in an emergency.
Yeah.
But in a conspiracy situation, I don't want anybody knowing where I am.
Well, I know you don't want anyone to
know. No, and I don't remember as well whether a smartphone is required. I think it is, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so there was 2 strikes against it for me, which is why I've forgotten about it already. But in an emergency, it'd be brilliant. What was your 3rd word? Add a grainy what? Spy. Okay. Did you say spy?
Yeah, spy.
They're quite hard. No, I know. No, they're quite hard words to transmit to a Greek taxi driver.
Well, the point is, you don't have to. You can
text,
press your 3 words.
Yes.
And share it by message to his mobile phone, and he will know exactly where you are because it generates a map that shows him where you are.
Okay.
Without you having to go all geo.
It's much easier in real life than it is to explain this, isn't it? Yes.
Obviously.
I did go and have a look and I went, oh no, not for me.
No, really take a look at it. Don't be put off by our convoluted explanation. It's one of the best things I've seen.
I think especially if you do a lot of dangerous things all of the time in foreign countries, or you go up mountains and you might have to call out the emergency services. Like I think it's Big Brother in disguise.
Yeah, but listen, for Nelson, who is a pizza delivery boy in his spare time when he's on college, he often cannot find the house from the address.
No.
Whereas if they'd sent him the 3 words, he would know exactly where he needs to go to. And he's often fumbling around in dark streets looking for ivy overgrown gates and things like that. And it's hopeless, And remember, Domino's Pizza is, your pizza fresh and hot in 30 minutes or your money back.
Yeah.
And so, Domino's lose a lot of money by the delivery people not being able to find the addresses.
Yes. And I mean, obviously I have Ocado come to me once a week, and I've had it twice since I've been here. In the first week, the big house is easy to find, but the cottage is less so. And the second week, the man found it straight away. And I said, have they updated your instructions? And he said, oh no, I just found your handy note. So, it depends on the intelligence of the driver as well, quite often.
What handy note was this in? Was it pinned to the front gate?
No, you're allowed to put notes on there to help people find you, and you are on Domino's as well.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Pull up outside the big house, the cottage is 20 metres short of that. So it's a little bit hidden in greenery. But anyway, yes, what 3 words? Fantastic. So when you get back to living with your children, the 3 of you, when at home, will share the same 3 words.
Well, it depends which room we're in.
Oh, of course. So it goes down to a room. Yeah, so you could be having a heart attack in one room. The other 2 can't hear you because the television's turned up too loud. And you can be texting 999 with your 3 words.
Yeah, I could. Yes.
Brilliant. Mind you, if you texted Phoebe's 3 words, it still wouldn't matter because the emergency services would find you. Yes, they'd still find you. Yes.
What's impressed you then?
Well, I don't think it's nearly as complicated as that, but the male half of the couple where I'm staying this week, he visited for 24 hours last weekend on his travels back from France en route to South Africa. And in the cottage where I'm staying, there is the biggest television I've ever seen in my entire life.
Really?
And, I don't really like God boxes. And he explained that they bought it for the World Cup, which I think is every man's excuse for buying an enormous television, actually. But I told him that I'd used it to binge Peaky Blinders, which I'd never seen. And I was thoroughly enjoying that. And I'll tell you a funny story about that in a minute. But on the basis of that, he recommended something called Mindhunter. Have you seen Mindhunter?
I love Mindhunter, yes.
Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it? But I tell you what I love about it, not only the sort of behavioural science aspect. And for the listener, it's, the FBI in Quantico in the late 70s and early 80s who interview serial killers that they've already got locked up with a view to understanding their minds so that they can help them catch other ones and ideally prevent future crimes because they can get inside the head of the perpetrator. It is a bit broader than that because you get involved in the lives of the people in the department and starting the department. But on a style detail point, the suits and the cars and the music is absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Is it the 80s? I thought it was the 50s.
No, it's the 70s and the 80s. It's the late 70s and the early 80s. Yeah, it looks 50s, I agree. Some of the American cars look 50s, but I Googled it before I stepped in here on that, and it said late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, okay. I wonder if the series was further back.
But I thought what was quite fun about this, no, they're both run on. What was quite fun about this is after having watched Peaky Blinders, where everybody is a psychopath, to then watching Mindhunter, which is all about psychopaths, Netflix then recommended that I watched a little, based on what you've watched so far, you might like to watch this little soppy romantic film about a woman that runs an inn in the middle of nowhere. It's like, God, that poor woman, she's been so steeped in psychopaths. She really should watch something nice and loving and soppy now, which I thought was quite funny, and it's not joined up thinking at all. You'd think she likes psychopaths, give us some more psychopaths, but no. It's quite funny, isn't it? They sent me some soppy love story in the middle and said it was a 98% match. No, just bring me some more Jack Ryan, quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Goliath, or Bosch. Come on, more crime, more psychopaths.
Yeah, good. I'm reading a great guy called John Connolly. Can I recommend him?
I think I've read him. There are two Connollys I really like. Yeah.
Yes, is
it Alex? Is it Alex? Alex, there's the psychologist John Connolly writes about.
It's about a guy whose wife and child get killed right at the beginning, and he goes hunting. Trouble finds him basically after that.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got two very interesting sidekicks: a gay couple, one of whom is tall and black and silent, and one of whom is small, violent, and deadly.
I have read lots of his, but Strand is not sounding familiar to me.
I'll send you a link.
No need. No, don't worry. I can look it up.
Okay. All right.
And all the Connollys are spelt differently as well, which is always quite confusing.
Yeah.
Right, that's good. We've done 2, and next time you'll be in the UK.
I will. So
you'll have culture shock to explain to us. Yeah.
And noise pollution shock.
Yeah.
And like that.
Yeah.
Probably weather shock as well.
Yeah. I should warn you. It's jumper weather. It's gone a bit chilly.
Grief. I'm sitting here in a vest. Sweating.
It'll come back, but it's sort of 19, but that feels chilly after the summer we've had.
Yeah. Okay, talk to you.
Right. Yeah, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.